Black kid in worn-out shoes went to bank to check account. Manager laughed until he saw the balance. They say you should never judge a book by its cover, but in today's world, that lesson is still being learned the hard way. Every day, people are underestimated, ignored, laughed at, or treated as invisible simply because of how they look, where they come from, or what they wear. Some walk into rooms already defeated by the assumptions made about them before they even speak. This story is about one such moment, a moment that began with laughter and ended in silence. A moment that exposed pride, prejudice, and the shocking truth hiding behind a pair of worn-out shoes. In a city where shiny cars lined the streets and glass-walled banks glittered under the sun, a young black boy walked into one of the most prestigious financial institutions in town. His clothes were faded. His shoes were torn. His backpack looked like it had survived a war. To everyone watching, he looked like someone who had wandered in by mistake. But what nobody knew was that this boy carried a secret that would shake the building to its foundation. This is not just a story about money. It's about dignity. It's about respect. And it's about how quickly people can be humbled when they mistake silence for weakness. So sit back, listen closely, and remember this lesson. Sometimes, the person you laugh at today might be the one who owns the room tomorrow. Now let's get into the story. The automatic glass doors of Riverside National Bank slid open with a soft whoosh. Cold air brushed against Jamal Carter's face as he stepped inside. He paused. The marble floors were spotless, reflecting the crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. Men in tailored suits walked past, talking quietly into expensive phones. Women with designer handbags sat in leather chairs scrolling on tablets. And right in the middle of all that luxury stood Jamal. 16 years old, skinny, dark-skinned, wearing faded jeans, a hoodie with peeling letters, and sneakers whose soles were separating at the edges. He swallowed hard. Jamal wasn't lost. He wasn't here by accident. He came with a purpose. Clutching the strap of his worn backpack, he walked toward the long counter where 3 bank tellers worked behind polished glass. As he approached, the closest teller, a middle-aged white woman with curled blonde hair and a tight smile, glanced at him from head to toe. Her eyes lingered on his shoes. Then she sighed. "Yes?" she asked, already sounding impatient. "What do you need, sweetie?" I just want to check my account balance," Jamal replied politely, sliding his debit card onto the counter. She stared at the card, then at him. "Your account?" she repeated, eyebrows lifting slightly. "Yes, ma'am." A smirk tugged at the corner of her lips. She picked up the card slowly, as if she expected it to vanish in her hands. "Okay," she said, typing into her computer. A few seconds passed. Then her fingers froze. Her smile faded. She blinked. Typed again. Leaned closer to the screen. Her mouth opened slightly. "That's strange," she muttered. Jamal waited quietly. She cleared her throat, trying to keep her composure. Please hold on one moment." She stood up abruptly and hurried to the glass office at the far end of the hall. From inside, Jamal could see her talking to a tall man in a navy blue suit, the branch manager. The manager frowned. Looked at the screen. Then laughed. Actually laughed. He shook his head, waved his hand dismissively, and said something Jamal couldn't hear. A few customers nearby turned their heads. Whispers began to float. "That kid? He probably doesn't even have $20. Maybe he stole the card." Jamal's ears burned, but he said nothing. The manager finally walked out. He didn't even look at Jamal at first. Instead, he went straight to the counter and leaned on it, arms crossed, smirking. "So," he said loudly, "this card is yours?" "Yes, sir," Jamal replied calmly. The manager tilted his head. "And you're telling me you have an account here?" "Yes, sir." The manager chuckled again. All right then. Let's see. He motioned for the teller to turn the monitor so he could see. She did. The moment his eyes landed on the screen, his smile disappeared. His face drained of color. His mouth slowly fell open. The laughter stopped. Dead. Silent. He leaned closer to the screen, blinking as if his eyes were malfunctioning. No, he whispered. He straightened up, looked at Jamal, then back at the screen. Refresh it, he snapped. The teller refreshed the page. The number didn't change. His voice shook. Run it again. She ran it again. Same number. A woman in line leaned forward. What's wrong? The manager swallowed. Then he finally turned to Jamal, not with mockery this time, but with pure disbelief. Son, he said slowly, can you please come into my office? Jamal nodded. As he walked past the staring customers, the whispers turned into silence. Inside the office, the manager closed the door and sat heavily in his chair. You, he said quietly, you have over $3.2 million in this account. Jamal simply nodded. Yes, sir. The manager stared at him like he was seeing a ghost. How? He breathed. Jamal hesitated for a moment. Then he spoke. My dad. The manager leaned forward. He was a truck driver, Jamal continued. But he was also an inventor. He created a safety locking system for cargo trucks. A big company bought his patent. The manager's eyes widened. He died last year, Jamal said softly. The company sends royalty payments to my account. Silence filled the room. You came in here. The manager said slowly, just to check your balance. Yes, sir. I need to pay my school fees. And my grandma's hospital bills. The manager stood up. Suddenly, his tone changed completely. Please, he said, forcing a smile, have a seat. Would you like some water? Or juice? Jamal declined politely. Outside, customers were pressing their faces to the glass. The boy with torn shoes had just turned the whole bank upside down. And nobody would ever look at him the same again. The bank had never felt so quiet. Outside the glass walls of the manager's office, people pretended to scroll on their phones, but their eyes kept drifting back to Jamal. Word had spread in whispers, and now curiosity filled the air like static electricity. Inside the office, the branch manager, Mr. Whitmore, cleared his throat. So, Jamal, he said gently, you're saying your account receives monthly royalties? Yes, sir, Jamal replied. Every month since my dad passed. Mr. Whitmore nodded slowly, his professional smile now trembling with unease. He glanced again at the screen. $3,217,400.78. His stomach tightened. Just 10 minutes earlier, he had laughed. Now he felt like the walls were closing in. I owe you an apology, he said quietly. I made assumptions. That was wrong. Jamal didn't respond. He simply sat still, hands resting on his knees, eyes lowered. Mr. Whitmore swallowed. If you'd like, we can upgrade your account to a premium private banking package. It includes. I don't need anything special, Jamal said softly. I just want to pay my grandma's bills. And my school fees. That answer hit harder than any accusation. You're very mature for your age, Mr. Whitmore said. Jamal shrugged. Life made me that way. Outside, the teller who had first served Jamal stared at the floor. A woman in a red coat whispered, that kid is a millionaire. Another man muttered, look at his shoes. A teenage boy whispered to his friend, bro, he richer than all of us combined. Every eye followed Jamal as the office door finally opened. Mr. Whitmore stepped out first, his posture noticeably straighter. Attention, everyone, he announced. The room hushed. I would like to personally apologize for the way this young man was treated today. His business here is private, and he deserves the same respect as any client in this bank. He turned to Jamal. Please come. Jamal walked out, and the crowd parted for him, the same crowd that had judged him just minutes earlier. The teller approached him nervously. I'm sorry, she said. I shouldn't have looked at you like that. Jamal nodded. It's okay. But it wasn't really okay, and everyone knew it. At the counter, Jamal handed over a small folded piece of paper. These are the bills I need to pay, he said. The teller's hands trembled as she took it. Hospital. School, utilities. She typed carefully. You want to pay all of these today? She asked. Yes. She swallowed. That will be a total of $86,430. Okay, Jamal said. Just one word. No hesitation. The machine beeped. Transaction approved. A gasp rippled through the waiting area. Someone whispered, that's more than my yearly salary. Jamal exhaled slowly. That covers my grandma for the next 6 months, he murmured. She won't have to worry. 10 minutes later, the glass doors slid open again. A woman with a camera and microphone stepped inside. I'm looking for Jamal Carter, she announced. Everyone froze. Mr. Whitmore's eyes widened. How did you? I got a tip, the reporter said. About a teenager with a multimillion-dollar account who was mistreated. The room went dead silent. Jamal stiffened. I don't want to be on the news, he whispered. Mr. Whitmore stepped forward. I'm sorry, but this is a public space. No, Jamal said firmly. My dad didn't make this money for attention. He made it to take care of our family. The reporter lowered her camera slowly. I respect that, she said. But your story could inspire a lot of kids. Jamal thought about his grandma lying in her hospital bed. He thought about kids who looked like him, overlooked, underestimated. Finally, he nodded. Okay, he said quietly. By that evening, Jamal's face was everywhere. Teen millionaire shuts down bank after being mocked. Social media exploded. People flooded Riverside National Bank's pages with angry comments. Do better. Teach your staff respect. Shame on you. The bank released a public apology within hours. The teller was suspended. Mr. Whitmore was placed under review. And Jamal? He went home. He sat beside his grandma's bed and held her hand. They paid the bills, he said softly. Tears slid down her cheeks. I knew your father left us something special, she whispered. A week later, Jamal returned to the bank. But this time, the doors opened for him. Staff stood straighter. Smiles were forced. Respect was suddenly free. Mr. Whitmore met him personally. Jamal, he said nervously, the board would like to offer you a private advisor and a youth investment program. Jamal shook his head. I want to move my money, he said. The words hit like thunder. Move it? Mr. Whitmore repeated. Yes. To a black-owned community bank. Silence. I want my money to help people who won't laugh at kids with torn shoes. Mr. Whitmore had no response. Months later, Jamal funded a scholarship program in his father's name. He paid for school supplies. He helped families with medical bills. He even opened a small innovation lab for young inventors. And he still wore his old sneakers. Because he never forgot the day he walked into a bank and learned the truth. People don't always see your value. Until they see your balance. If this story moved you, opened your eyes, or reminded you to treat everyone with respect, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more powerful stories like this.